Okay, welcome everybody to Speaking of Zane, October 23rd edition, 2022, 210th edition, 210th. We skipped a week last week, which we've done on occasion. We had a good reason. We were on the road all day, 9 hour drive back from my Warriors place. And by the time we got home and got settled, it was like, I just didn't have the energy to put a program together. But we got back from my Warriors place Sunday, like I mentioned, and we stayed actually an extra day than we had originally planned. And anyway, so yeah, we skipped a week. So let me fill you in on what we had going on there. The second week we were there, we actually did the last Speaking of Zane from my Warriors place down in Ruskin, Florida. And we were on the heels of doing a lot of the cleanup work there, I mentioned. And then Lori and I stayed on and did some other things for about the next 7-8 days, I guess. But let me acknowledge who all has checked in today. Lori is in there, first out of the gate. Daryl is in there. Hey, Daryl. Colin Krim is in there, my old squadron commander. Aunt Mary's in there from down Fitzgerald Tifton Ocilla way. Amy's in there. Amy took a little trip to the East Coast this past week. I enjoyed following your trip there, Amy, and you had some great photos and lots of good stops there. Glad you made it back safely. Matt Aaron is in there, one of Zane's battle buddies from up in Michigan. Carl Q's in there, Carl and Peggy from Warsaw, Missouri. Jim Miller's in there from Omaha, Nebraska. And there's my dad. My dad's in there. Well, what you been up to today, Dad, that's got you wore out? My dad had a birthday last week. We didn't get to acknowledge it, so happy birthday, Dad. My dad is 78, October the 11th. Happy birthday. I want to be as active and fit as he is when I'm 78. And I'm only 18 years behind him. But if I have half the energy at that age, I will consider myself fortunate. There's my old buddy Todd Hargrave. Hey, Todd Dro, how you doing there, buddy? All right, good to have everybody in here. I tell you, I say it every week, but you guys don't have to join. You guys don't have to come alongside us in this effort, but you do week in and week out, and we appreciate it. I enjoy telling you about the things that we're doing for veterans and related to veterans and different activities, and especially talking about Zane and different experiences and things. And so I appreciate you guys being there. Okay, yeah, my dad's sister, Aunt Betty, has a birthday coming up on Tuesday. She's, let's see, Aunt Mary is the youngest. Betty is next. Dad's the youngest boy. So I think I got all that right. Okay, well, let's see what we got going. So, yeah, so we, for those who hadn't been following for a couple weeks, and really this is all due to Lori's effort, not mine, but after the hurricane hit southwest Florida, I didn't think I was going to be able to get away and go down to my Warriors place and help, but Lori, said, can't you get away? Don't you think there's something we can do down there? Anyway, we ended up going down there, and like I reported on the last Speaking of Zane, and had a bunch of my colleagues at work come out, and most of them veterans, and we got a lot of work done in a 2-day period. But we stayed on. Lori and I did right there on the property, and most of my work over that next 7 days after our last Speaking of Zane was IT related stuff. So um, Kelly had got several new laptops for the office, and they needed to be configured in a particular way, and needed to be able to print to the printer, which is a new printer. I had to install the new printer, get it up on the network, get those laptops working, make sure everybody could print to the printer. There's still one that's not printing to the printer. I got to get on the phone with them tomorrow. This Navy veteran called Jack works as a volunteer there in the office, and his printer is not working, so I got to get on the phone with him tomorrow. But moved a fax line from the old office to the new office, got that up and running. Had to run some new line, poke a hole in the wall and fish some new line through there to get it to the other printer, and got all that up and tested. Made sure the credit card machine and everything was still working. Installed a couple of new wireless access points on the property. What we've done is created this wireless umbrella across the 5 acres, and so that anywhere on the property, you can have internet access. Any of the guests that can have internet access. And there were some gaps in the coverage. And since we were down there, and because we already had the equipment, I went ahead and mounted some new access points and got them up on some poles, and increased the coverage so that there's anywhere you go on the property now, you can get internet access, to include all of the units. And probably the most time-consuming thing I did over that next 7 days or so was program and install about 30 Amazon Fire TV sticks. Do you all know what those are? They're like Roku's. They're streaming. It's like a little television in a USB or an HDMI. And anyway, so the plan has been for some time now to install streaming media Fire Sticks all across the property, and have all of those connect back through the wireless network back to the main internet pipe. So I got all that working, and got all those Fire Sticks programmed, configured, and deployed in all of the units. That took a little bit of time, and but what that means at the end of the day, now that the wireless coverage is pervasive across the property and all the Fire Sticks are installed in every living room and bedroom of every unit on the property, that's why there's over 30 of them. That means that she can now disconnect the old cable-based internet access and television to each of the units. So every unit had its own cable TV connection and all this stuff. Anyway, she stands to say, I think I've probably talked about this before, but now it's finally ready. She's going to save about $1,000 a month on the cable bill because of switching to what we've put in place and everything. So that'd be a nice little bonus. So it felt good to get down there and have a full 7 days I could focus on doing just that and getting all of that working, tested, and everything. So there's a couple little tweaks I've got to make, but like I mentioned, Jack's printer, Jack's laptop to the printer, and a couple of other things. But anyway, so that was what most of the rest of the time was. We did, Lori and I get to go have dinner with our good friend Amanda Duggard, her husband Jason, and their little girl on I guess the Friday night. They invited us, and we went to their little community of Safety Harbor, Florida. It's about a 40-minute drive from Ruskin, from where we were. It's a little up near St. Pete. But got to see their little girl, Ellington, Ellie, they call her, and had a nice little dinner with them. And then one night, my buddy Robert Resch came over to my Warriors place, and we might have had a cigar and a beverage. I don't really remember, but it was good to see him. They only live about a mile or two away. And what else did we do? We had that weekend, so Oh no, this was the weekend before. Ken, our buddy Ken came, and Ken and his wife Janet came the weekend before. But anyway, yeah. So it was a good. It was a good time. They are very productive. You know, we often go there just to disconnect and relax, but this was more of a connect. Um, and But it was good to have 7 days. I didn't have to worry too much. I was doing some work, real work there, and thanks to the internet, I could do my normal job while I was there. And late afternoon, evening, I would do a lot of that IT work. But anyway, it worked. It turned out pretty good down there. And okay, well, let's see. Oh, and so my boss knows I was down there. I have a new boss. I mean, I've known her the whole 10 years I've been here, but now I report to her. But she knew what we were doing down there, and she asked me. She was running. We have a company meeting every Friday, and probably between 700 and 800 people on our sales team attend this meeting regularly, and video stream, and she asked me if I would talk about what we had done there, since we had a lot of my colleagues there, veterans, and we call it our above and beyond segment, and it often includes, things like that people are doing across the company to give back and stuff. Anyway, so I had a good time sharing with the rest of the company about what we did at My Warriors Place and the mission of My Warriors Place and all that stuff. So it's kind of fun to be able to do that. Okay, let's see. Well, baseball. Wow, Phillies won the National League pennant today. How about that? Wow, it's like San Diego never even got out of the gate. But yeah, the Phillies are going to be in the World Series. And now we wait till, well, I think they just started. The Yankees are playing Houston. And the Yankees better get on the stick because they could be eliminated tonight. So as soon as I'm done here, I plan to put the ball game on and see how the Yankees do. Not a big Yankees fan, but I'm not a big Astros fan. So we'll see how things go. Okay, how about a weight loss update? So we get down to My Warriors Place. We spend 10 days down there. And, when you're away from home, you can't eat like you have like the regimen that you've built at home, right? So I always worry when I go out of town that, I'm not going to be able to maintain my routine and stay on my path, my weight loss path. But Lori will tell you, I cook pretty much like I cook at home at My Warriors Place. Of course, we were staying in a unit that has a full kitchen and everything, So I did pretty good there. And I don't eat sugar and carbs, so, it's pretty much the same thing. But anyway, the last time I was looking back, speaking of Zane, I was at 60 pounds lost. I'm happy to say I'm at 62 pounds lost. How about that? So lost another couple of pounds since the last, speaking of Zane. So, and we just finished this little health challenge we have at work. It was the second one this year that we've done, and just some accountability with colleagues and stuff. And we just finished that. And my team came in 29th place. It was 100 and some teams, but we came in 29th place. One of the young ladies that works for me, she just beat me out on steps. We were doing steps, not weight loss this time, and she just beat me out by a couple hundred steps. But it was a fun challenge. It kept me, engaged and on my toes and aware. Now I've got another group. The group I did the weight loss challenge with and the group I did the step challenge with, I'm trying to combine them now and keep a little accountability going. And we're doing a 10-pound challenge. We're seeing how close we can get to 10 pounds lost between now and Thanksgiving, so we can splurge on Thanksgiving. So we got about a little 30-day window here that we're competing on weight loss and steps. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, let's see. What else? Oh yeah, you guys. I mentioned last time. Thank you guys that have shared and contributed to our little GoFundMe. I've never done a GoFundMe thing before, but I put one together for my son Jackson, who's a disabled Air Force veteran, and he's trying to get his private pilot's license, and it's proven to be a tricky thing with first with COVID and then with inflation and the cost of gas and all that stuff. So I put one together, and it's doing pretty well. I just broadened the reach on it. But you can scroll back through Speaking of Zane if you want to take a look at that. But we've had Jackson's little daughter, Carson, all week. When we got back, Lori had missed the grandkids so much. Lori called Jackson's wife, Caitlin, up and said, "Hey, how about if I pick up Carson?" And so Lori brought Carson home. I don't know, was it Monday maybe? Anyway, Carson was with us all week, and she just left today, and she didn't want to go. Her mom came upstairs here to get her, and she and I were sitting in my airline seats. She buckles me in. She says, "Buckle yourself in, Granddaddy." And we sit in these airline seats and watch, what were we watching? We either watch Baby Shark or Peppa Pig. We were watching Peppa Pig, and we were in our airline seats. We were buckled in, and she didn't want to go home, but she did. But that's Jackson's little girl. She's about to turn 3 years old, and her middle name is Sky. That's how much Jackson is committed to being a pilot. Their little girl's middle name is Sky. But okay, well, let's see. How about Hat of the Week? Hat of the Week. Hat of the Week. You guys know that the Hat of the Week sometimes has something to do with what we've got going on here at the McDonald Insane Asylum. But I couldn't really think of one this week, but we did stop at Buc-ee's on the way home from my Warriors place. So I decided to wear my Buc-ee's hat. And if you don't know about Buc-ee's, you're missing out. They're a Texas-based mega convenience store found typically on the interstates. And we have two of them here in Georgia now, one south of us and then one north of us. Actually, Lori was at Buc-ee's yesterday because she took Carson up to a pumpkin patch in Calhoun, where the Buc-ee's is. So we've got a couple of Buc-ee's trips in, but that is the Hat of the Week. Okay, well, let's see. How about some This Week in Military History? Yeah, Todd. Oh, my favorite, Todd, there at Buc-ee's is the sliced brisket sandwich. Oh, I don't eat the bread, of course, but the brisket, they cook it. I mean, it's legit. Good stuff. All right, here we go. Here we go. Colin Krim's already contributing to our This Week in Military History. That's great. If anybody ever has an item to contribute, let me know, and I'll sure throw it in there. But let me see if I can start chronologically. And we missed this, just like we missed my dad's birthday. We missed the Navy's birthday. The Navy's birthday was October 13th. Happy 247th birthday to the United States Navy. How about that? And then let's see, fast forward to October 23rd, 1921. If you don't know this story, go to Speaking of Zane Facebook group because I've just posted it there. I had seen this story sometime back but didn't remember it. But it's the story of the selection of the unknown soldier. And if you've been to Arlington and you've seen the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, raise your hand. But yeah, I have. I've been there several times, and it's a fascinating story. But I won't read it now. But the selection of the unknown that you see there at Arlington, the selection was made on October 23rd of 1921. A fascinating story. And then on October 14th, 1947 was, who can guess? October 14th, 1947, you're not going to guess, I'll tell you. Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier. First person to break the sound barrier. Chuck Yeager on October 14th, 1947. How about that? And then on, according to Colonel Krim here, October 24th, 1944, largest naval battle in the world history began. 5 separate battles between Allied and Japanese fleets. Yeah, just incredible. The Pacific, the war in the Pacific was just a fascinating campaign to me. I could just read about it. I know I could read about it every day till I die, and I will never read everything about it. But just fascinating, every aspect of it. So thanks for contributing there, Colin Krim. And Lori is saying that Buc-ee's is the best place ever to use the restroom. It is indeed very clean. They rival Chick-fil-A in a lot of categories, including cleanliness and hospitality. No doubt about it. Yeah, so coming up November 10th, we'll herald that. I hope to make it over to our favorite bar and grill, Semper Fi Bar and Grill. And Toad, if you're ever up here in the Atlanta area, I'm going to have to carry you over there and treat you to a lunch or dinner at Semper Fi Bar and Grill in Woodstock, Georgia. But Top does a great job over there, him and his wife, who's also a Marine Corps vet. But they hold Georgia's biggest Marine Corps birthday celebration. It's probably bigger than Georgia, but it's certainly Georgia's biggest. But that'll be the Marine Corps birthday will be November the 10th. And I don't know when the celebration is. Let me look at the calendar real quick while I'm talking about it. He usually does it on a Saturday. Well, November the 11th is Friday, the 12th is Saturday, so I think it's the 12th. But you can go to the Facebook Semper Fi Bar and Grill Facebook page and get all the details there. I've not been. I mean, I know all about it. I see all the pictures and stuff, but I've never attended. But I might try to do that this year. Of course, Veterans Day is on November the 11th, and always the day after the Marine Corps birthday. Okay, let's see. What am I missing here? Okay. Yeah, and then a tragic date in history on October the 12th of 2000, been 22 years already. The USS Cole was attacked. You guys remember the USS Cole, the terrorist attack there, and 17 sailors were killed in that attack in 2000. That happened before 9/11. Okay, yeah, Toad, let me know whenever you're up this way. I'd love to introduce you to my good buddy Top Roger out there at My Warrior's Place. I say good buddy, we're friends. But yeah, him and his wife Carrie just do a phenomenal job there at Semper Fi Bar and Grill, and they're big supporters of the community, veterans community, and do a lot of charitable stuff as well, as you might imagine. But okay, yeah, sorry, Matt's got 2 daughters, so yeah, I understand, Matt, no problem at all. Okay, let's see. Well, how about a veteran cemetery challenge? This is what I know about over the last 2 weeks. Daryl has made a couple of visits. He generally visits at least once a week to Jefferson Barracks to visit Wanda and others. Daryl has quite a little ministry, I guess you could call it, at Jefferson Barracks. And Ken, I mentioned Ken. Ken and Janet are up in Virginia, and Ken messaged me today and said he would miss speaking of Zane tonight. And they were at Arlington today, actually, where his mom and dad are buried. If you remember, Ken's father is a Pearl Harbor survivor. And we will have Ken share that story again with us this year in December. I'm going to ask him to join me live on here to tell the story of his father, who passed just a few years ago. And they're up there actually for the funeral of an Air Force colleague of Ken's, whose father is also buried there. and Ken visited him today. And I really enjoyed Ken coming out to my Warriors place while we were down there, Ken and Jan. First time we'd ever met each other face to face, but through speaking of Zane, it felt like we knew each other already. And he's friends with Steve Shirley. But anyway, we'll look forward to hearing from Ken next week. Okay, well, let's see. Those were the only ones I'm aware of. So that would be 3 visits over the last couple of weeks where we hit the 700 mark. So we're at 703 visits that this group has made over the last few years to 164 different cemeteries. How about that? Okay, Toad, I might do that. Yeah, I might do that. I haven't been on Echolink in some time, but I'll make a note. See, Tuesday at 1900. Okay, 745. I remember 745 for Peter. All right, let's see. How about a thank a vet challenge? We had a few thank yous. Now, we're at my worst place. I had some thank yous. I didn't document everything along the way, but I do have some that stood out. So let me see. I know that Aunt Paula had some. She does a very good job of chronicling her thank yous. She had a husband and wife. There's a husband and wife who are Pasco County Sheriff deputies, and she found out that the husband is also an Army vet, and she thanked them. She also thanked a Navy vet, and then she thanked on another occasion 2 Army vets, one who was a World War II veteran. So well done, Aunt Paula. And she also thanked an Air Force vet. So she had a lot of thank yous. Now, Lori and I were scheduled to meet my Aunt Paula on the Saturday, right, Lori? On the Saturday morning on our drive back, we have to come right up through her neck of the woods there on the way back up 75. And we have met her before at this particular Cracker Barrel, and we had scheduled to meet her again on the Saturday. Well, Friday night came around. I said, Lori, do you think we could stay another day? I'm not quite done. And it turned out it was good. It was good to stay because I got the fax line done. But we ended up staying, so we ended up not being able to meet with Aunt Paula, but we'll certainly do it on another trip. And then Carl, hey Carl. Carl had a very interesting thank you this week. A very rare one. First of all, he was at the Chiefs game and thanked a Marine Corps vet. And he thanked, he was at some other activity and thanked 2 Vietnam era Army vets. But Carl got an opportunity to meet the current Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. That's the highest ranking enlisted person in the Air Force. And it happens to be a female by the name of Joanne Bass. I follow her on Facebook. But Carl got a chance to meet her, and they exchanged mutual thank yous. So Carl, that is an incredible thank you there for the Speaking of Zane, Thank a Vet challenge. And I bet Chief Bass has absolutely no idea how that all came about, but or that we would be talking about her here on Sunday night. But well done, Carl. That's awesome. And then I had some thank yous. I thanked an Army vet when we were out for dinner with Amanda and Jason in Safety Harbor. And then there was a Marine that's living on the property at my Warriors place, him and his wife, a Marine veteran called Mordecai, and got to meet him, chat with him a little bit while we were there. So that's a couple for me. I know I had more, but I just didn't document them all for some reason. But anyway, so if I add them all up, we had 12 thank yous there, and we are at 1,725 thank yous. So 1,725 times somebody who has served this great country in some capacity has heard from someone in this relatively small group of patriots, I appreciate you, or thank you, or has struck up a conversation with them. And that, in my book, is outstanding. All right. Well, let's see. Organizations. I have this whole section called organizations because we keep stumbling on over the years all these different organizations that do great work for veterans, for service members, for their families. Everything from My Warrior's Place to Folds of Honor to Run for the Fallen to Running to Honor, Continuing the Mission, and Cherokee County Homeless Veterans Organization. Just all these organizations. There's a lot of people out there doing a lot of great work. And anytime we hear about a new one, we want to share it. And anytime we are or you guys are involved with one, please share it with us, and we'll tell everybody else about it. But there's a lot of good organizations out there doing a lot of good work, and we're getting into the season right now where we need to be thinking about wreaths across America. And I know most of you have attended a wreath laying right before Christmas in conjunction with Wreaths Across America. And you'll have an opportunity to do it again this year. And the fundraising, I believe, you can sponsor wreaths has already begun. I'll begin putting posts in the Speaking of Zane Facebook group. And of course, Lori and I will be at Georgia National Cemetery, and we'll be encouraging our friends, family, neighbors, colleagues to come alongside us. And I'll have some folks from work doing it in Florida and Georgia and at Jefferson Barracks, where Daryl goes to help place the wreaths. And so we're coming into that season where you'll start to hear more about it, Wreaths Across America, especially as we get just a little bit closer to November. If you didn't know, there's also a Wreaths Across America radio station. It's an online streaming that you can go straight to their website, or I can't remember which streaming vehicle that you can find them on, but they do patriotic music. They do like Americana music around Christmas. They do Christmas music. It's just a good, wholesome station to have on in the background during the holidays. And I'll begin here as we move into November, listening to them in the background. But Reach Across America Radio. But I'll get some links out there, and Lori's asking me for the link and the date and all that stuff. So I'll start to let everybody know about that. You can share it with your friends, and I'll be heading up an effort at work all across our company, people participating all across the different cemeteries all across the country. But a wonderful time of year for sure, but a lot of great organizations. And as you guys find out about any that do great work and want to share it with the group, put them in the chat or tell me and I'll call it out. But it's just a lot of good stuff going on there. A lot of good people in the world, believe it or not. Okay, well, geez, I think that is the end of my notes. But I sure have enjoyed it. I miss it. If I miss a week, I really kind of miss. It. It just it's become such a routine over what. 210 weeks, you get into these habits and routines, and when you miss something, you really miss it. And I miss it, but sometimes I'm just wore out, and I just didn't have I didn't feel like I had it in me to do a good quality Speaking of Zane last week. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. But yeah, Lori put in did I mention that? Yeah, Lori took our little granddaughter Carson out to the pumpkin patch, and looks like they had some patriotic music and stuff there. But anyways, Reach Across America Radio, it's a good channel there. Okay, group. Well, hey, have a great week. Don't forget that if you see a veteran, a service member, a first responder, boy, don't they at least deserve a, hey, man, hey, fellow veteran, thank you for serving, or hey, when did you serve, or hey, where did you serve? Sometimes that's how I start the conversation. And but somebody mentioned, I think it was Jim, said he told one of the active duty airmen, thank you for serving, and they responded with thank you for your support. So that's a good retort. If somebody thanks you, you're out and about with your SAC hat on, and somebody says thank you, then you can turn around and say, well, thank you for your support. How about that? So thanks for sharing that, Jimbo. Okay, well, have a great week, and we'll look forward to tallying up the cemetery visits and the thank yous next week, and see what everybody's been up to as we move into, wow, will it be November? No, it'll still be October very tail end of October, moving toward Halloween next weekend. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody then. Take care. Have a great week. Make it count.